Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. It's your responsibility to do your own due diligence, but we'll show you what we're doing. First of all, Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a big sell-off yesterday. It is trying to find its footing, and seems to be trending even lower. Ethereum is following its direction, so that is a story. On to our word of the day. Our word of the day is melliferous. Melliferous is yielding or producing honey. Patch of melliferous flowers in Clint's backyard seem to attract every bee in the county. So let us move over to our S&P 500 heat map. It's been bouncing all over some of these things. Google is down 3% with a warning of maybe a breakup of all of its separate accounts. Tesla's down 3.5%, kind of a mixed bag elsewhere. Number of semiconductors are down. NVIDIA is up slightly. Eli Lilly is up 2.5%. Energy, industrials, financials, insurance are all trending upward. So that is a story there. If you're at all concerned about your portfolio of building up your wealth over a lifetime and sailing into retirement, this might be an area you want to look at. Goes up the step, goes up the step when the market goes up. When the market goes down, it does not go down. So it saves any potential downfall, turning a 401k into a 201k. You can see over here, it beats index investing by about 5% per year. If you'd like to learn more, feel free to send a comment to me on my YouTube channel. So let us go over to our chart. This is our ETF of the day, insurance. It's up 1.24%. Our stock of the day is App 11, was up a little bit further earlier. And 4 is our IPO of the day. Just continues streaking higher after its earnings came out. So let us move over to our dollar index. Dollar index is trying to stabilize. It did move lower earlier. Silver still trending lower. It's trying to fight back. It's down 0.9%. Gold and gaps down 0.78. Our copper index is trending down as well. Take a look at it. Uranium ETF is up 1.5%. Here was a smaller uranium miner, seeing if it's getting its footing here. We'll just continue to watch these. Look at the 10-year treasuries. They're falling down to 3.83%, down, I guess you could say 2 basis points for the day, maybe 20 basis points. And, let's look at 20-year. It's at 3%. Look at our VIX. Continues to trend down 10% today, down to 16.48%. See if the volatility crushes on. The S&P 500 is up 0.37%, getting up to its 50-day moving average. The equal weight moving up 0.44%. It's trending above all its moving averages, which is good. The NASDAQ is trending up. With all these averages, the concern is if this is wedging. Wedging is when the stock or index moves up on lower volume, means that the professionals are not participating. So that's something to keep a watch out as we move to the worst part of the year, which is in September and October. So it's pretty flat on our equal weight on the NASDAQ. Take a look at the small capitalization stocks. tried to move higher and got sold off. And the Dow Jones is up slightly as industrials moving up. This does have some pretty good volume, so that's a good sign. Let's move on to our news of the day. New Zealand delivered first rate cut in over 4 years and flags more easing, which was a surprise. The RBNZ cuts rates by 25 basis points to 5.25%, first easing in over 4 years. So on to our consumer news. Mars is expected to announce an all-cash deal to acquire Kellanova. So this has been trending. Kellanova, big gap up 7.73%. The bid is going to be around 30 billion or 83.50 per share. So it's still below that. Brinker reports Q4 EPS $1.61 versus consensus $1.72. They fall on that news, falling 10%. Chipotle, also in the restaurant area, upgraded to outperform from neutral at Wedbush. And raised target to 58 from 54. On to Peloton. And Google Fitbit announced Tuesday a multi-year, multi-country partnership to offer wide portfolio of Peloton classes for Fitbit premium users starting in September. Peloton is still down 5%. Flutter, Q2 adjusted EBITDA up 17% to 738 million average monthly players, up 17%. Its Ireland-based company engages in business online betting and gaming, up 8%, but it is on the low for the day of the gap up. Southwest Airlines is higher after hedge fund Elliott, which currently has a 7% stake in the airline, launches a boardroom battle seeking to replace CEO Robert Jordan and Executive Chair Gary Kelly, nominate 10 candidates, including Virgin America CEO David Cush and former Air Canada CEO Robert Milton. So that's some interesting chair shuffling at Southwest Airlines. Onto energy, industrials, and materials. Archer files for a shelf of up to 49.3 million shares of Class A common stock by selling stockholders. It's down 2.8% on that news. Hexcel downgraded to sector perform from outperform at RBC Capital. It did fight back after a big sell-off in the morning. Mercury Systems, Q4 adjusted EPS 23 cents versus estimate of 1 cent, and it flies from the pivot to the profit zone, up about 20%. And level 3 Harris downgraded to sector perform from outperform at RBC Capital, citing the company's slower 2024 revenue growth relative to its defense peers. For the downgrade is falling below its 50-day moving average. On to financials. NCT Leos Corporation's Q2 EPS 81 cents versus 69 cents initially moves up and then sells off. It's off 5% today. New Holdings Q2 adjusted net profit 563 million versus 451.5. Usually it pulled back and it is bouncing. It's up 5.27%, clearing the pivot zone. XP Incorporated Q2 EPS $2.03 versus $1.83. This is a Brazil-based company, provides securities brokerage, and it gaps up 7% today. And we're going to adjust our news forecast here. Then pop back over here. So we're on to healthcare. Avidity Biosciences announced a $250 million stock offering, initially sell off to their 50-day and bounce off 4.47% at the moment. Cardinal Health Q4 adjusted EPS $1.84 versus estimate of $1.73. Gaps up, clears the 200-day. It's up 4% at the moment. And then Melliferous Therapeutics, Q2 EPS 83-cent loss versus estimate of a 70-cent loss. So it's selling off, falling below $10, off almost 22%. In Zevra, also in biotech, Zevra Therapeutics, Q2 EPS 48-cent loss versus estimate of 43-cent loss. Initially sold off and bouncing back up close to 3%. On the technology, media, and telecom, Google, Bloomberg reported the Justice Department is considering asking for a breakup of Alphabet's Google, and landmark court ruling found that the company monopolized the online search market, and it is selling off down 3.22%. ByteDance, Baidu, and China Mobile have been testing Huawei's latest AI processor called Ascend 910C. In recent weeks, Huawei told potential clients that the new chip is comparable to NVIDIA's H100, Wall Street Journal reports. Baidu is off 2.88%. And let us move to Intapp, Q4 adjusted EPS 15 cents versus 12 cents. And it is rising. Look at that thing take off, 14% on 823% increase in volume. So it is definitely, looks like, closed on its bottoming base as it clears on this big gap up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the last 7, 4 out of the last 7 days up. Earnings came in at 275% increase over the prior quarter a year ago. Congratulations to Intapp. And finally, Outster, Q2 EPS loss 53 cents versus estimate of 62 cents. It's still diving down 27%. Ouch. Look at that volume just keep increasing, even though the earnings rose 83%. So that is our look there. Let us go over to our daily routine. See what is up 10% on 200% increase in volume. Close this window, gives a little more real estate. We have only 5 items. We get KIE Technology, Chinese company, data-driven tech platform. Earnings came in at 32%. We got the blue dot, which means relative strength is at its highest point. Gaps up about 11% on 340% increase in volume. We got Mercury Systems. I believe we had that in the news. Gapped up 20%. We got Green Lane Holdings. Wow, look at this. It really moved up, sold off, and it's moving up again today. Looks like the earnings are today. That's pretty wild. 82%. Wow, that is something. That may require some further analysis. Distributes premium vaporization products, consumption accessories in the United States. We looked at Intapp in the news. And Victoria's Secret. Capital Hubs on pretty big move there. Look at the volume on that one. Earnings are due for 14 days, up 16%. What have we done today? We've added some stops. Take a look at BitX. BitX is down a little over 6% today, as it really slid down. Yeah, it got turned away at its 10-day moving average, it looks like here. So we'll just continue to watch that one. NVIDIA, moved back into NVIDIA. It was up, it sold off, and now it is up again, up almost 1%. It was off 1% earlier in the day. And What else do we have on the docket? We're going to just pause for a second to pull up the other items that we're showing. So we're back at it. LABU is pulling back to its 50-day moving average, down 2.7%. We got into Internet of Things, only about 100 shares. Just kind of wanted to watch what it did. It is into the pivot zone. We'll see if we add some. We're going to take a look at Kava and FANG-U. FANG-U pulling back slightly after our entry yesterday. We did enter back over here. We just added a little bit to it yesterday. Kava Mediterranean Grill continues moving on up. So that's a good sign there. Continue to look at Elf Beauty, continues trending down after its earnings came in pretty flat. And that's pretty much what we're doing. Let's go take a look at financials. Moving on, 1.29%. Communications pulling back to the moving average. Real estate, look at that nice move on real estate, up 0.69%. Home builders. I had the wrong ticker symbol, is pretty flat right there. Energy moving up. Got a sell-off, fill the gap on the oil prices. Biotech pulling back a little bit. Utilities looking good today. Industrials getting pretty close to the pivot area. Their biotech pulling back. Going to pull back in this consumer discretionary. Consumer staples continues to move up 0.63%. Healthcare continues to act well. Software up slightly. Technology up slightly as well. Semiconductors pretty flat for the day. Airlines down. Material sector is moving on up slightly. Metals and mining pulling back. So that's kind of where we are. Let's take a look at all of the FANG-U. Pulling back from the 20-day moving average. Let's just take a look at where we are at. Tesla fallen below its 200-day moving average, down to 200. Bring up Apple. Apple's pulling back after Had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. So you'd call that a stale green light. Amazon, pretty flat. Meta, after a nice move yesterday, back slightly. We looked at Google earlier. Eli Lilly continues up. This might have been a pretty good place to add. Right as it kind of crossed its 50-day moving average right here, it continues up. We'll see if it breaks out the profit zone. We got left out Microsoft. Microsoft's up. Netflix gets back above its 50-day moving average. This might be a place if you have this stock, you continue to hold and you have a lower purchase price, this might be an area you want to consider adding, although the volume is pretty low. We did talk a little bit about wedging. So it's going to be a while before the earnings come out again. So that might be a safe area to add. So that is our story for today. Thanks for tuning in. Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Remember, it's your responsibility to do your own due diligence to find out what type of investing is right for you. We'll always be here to discuss and help you make your money work harder than you do.